superstar. And we're not saying that the players on the court need to act any differently. That's the athletes are going to do what athletes are going to do in any sport. And I think we're all learning. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar. It's like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. She stayed in Iowa, put an entire state on her back, took a program from nothing to a multiple-year success story.
Did you catch Pat McAfee's show where he called Caitlin Clark a white butch? Man, the internet went crazy. But here's what everyone's missing. It's not about the words, it's about what they represent. This whole thing is way bigger than just one comment. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It makes such a huge difference to us. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. In this video, we're going to break down the real story behind McAfee's words. We'll show you why Caitlin Clark is causing such a stir in the WNBA and why some people can't handle it. You'll see how one player is changing everything from how the game is played to how it's watched. And trust me, it's going to blow your mind. Remember when nobody cared about the WNBA? Let's talk about that for a second. Picture this: empty arenas, low TV ratings, and barely any social media buzz. It's crazy to think about now, but that was the reality for the WNBA not too long ago. But here's the wild part: the talent was always there. We're talking about superstars like Diana Taurasi and Candace Parker putting up insane numbers night after night. Taurasi was dropping 30-point games like it was nothing, and Parker was grabbing rebounds and blocking shots that would make NBA players jealous. These women were absolute beasts on the court. So what was missing? Why couldn't the league break through to mainstream sports fans? It's like they were playing in a bubble with all this incredible talent that nobody seemed to care about. You'd see highlights of these amazing plays, but the stands were half empty. It just didn't make sense. And you know what's even crazier? The WNBA was losing millions every year. We're talking about a professional sports league with world-class athletes, and they couldn't make ends meet. The NBA had to keep pumping money into it just to keep it alive. It's like they had all the ingredients for an amazing cake, but nobody was showing up to the bakery. You had players like Elena Del Don, who could shoot threes like Steph Curry and dominate in the paint like LeBron, or Breanna Stewart, who was basically a walking triple-double threat every game. These women were changing the game, playing a style of basketball that was fast, skilled, and exciting to watch. But for some reason, it just wasn't clicking with the wider audience. That was the WNBA landscape before Caitlin Clark, a league with amazing talent, but struggling to get noticed. It was like watching a blockbuster movie in an empty theater. You knew it was good, but it felt like you were the only one who cared. But everything was about to change. And I mean everything. The league was on the verge of a transformation that nobody saw coming. All it needed was that one spark, that one player who could capture the imagination of the entire sports world. And little did they know, that spark was already lighting up college basketball, getting ready to set the WNBA on fire. That spark? Her name is Caitlin Clark, and she just set the whole league ablaze. Picture this. It's April 15th, 2024. The Indiana Fever's arena is packed to the rafters. Every seat sold out in minutes. TV ratings are through the roof, and it's all for one rookie's pro debut. But here's the kicker. Is this sudden superstardom coming at a price? Let's break down what happened on that crazy day. Caitlin Clark steps onto the court for the first time as a pro, and suddenly it's like the whole sports world stopped to watch. We're talking about fans who've never even glanced at a WNBA game before, now glued to their screens. The energy in that arena was electric, like nothing the league had ever seen before. But that's just the beginning. After the game, things got even wilder. Merchandise with Clark's name and number started flying off the shelves. We're talking record-breaking sales here. T-shirts, jerseys, you name it. If it had Clark's name on it, people wanted it. Social media was blowing up too. Everyone and their grandma was sharing clips of Clark's debut, talking about her insane passes and deep three-pointers. Now, you'd think this would be nothing but good news for the WNBA, right? Well, hold on to your seats, because here's where it gets complicated. Some people started saying it wasn't fair. that Clark was getting special treatment, more attention than other rookies who were just as talented. The debate was heating up faster than Clark's jump shot. And then, in her third game, things really boiled over. You won't believe what went down. The refs made some calls that the crowd didn't agree with, and suddenly, the whole arena was booing. Fans were yelling that the officials were targeting Clark, trying to slow her down. It was like watching a movie where the underdog gets all the tough calls, except this was happening in real life. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's turning into a full-blown cultural phenomenon. People who couldn't care less about sports before are now arguing about referee calls and WNBA marketing strategies. Clark's not just changing how the game is played, she's changing how people talk about women's sports altogether. But here's the million-dollar question. Is all this attention good for the league in the long run? Are we seeing the birth of a new era in women's basketball, or is this just a temporary burst of excitement that'll fade away? One thing's for sure, the WNBA will never be the same after Caitlin Clark. And whether you love her or hate her, you can't deny that she's got everyone talking. The game has changed, folks, and we're all just along for the ride. Everyone's talking about Clark's game-changing skills, but there's a whole other conversation brewing behind the scenes. Why are some people claiming her popularity is about more than just her talent? Let's tackle the elephant in the room head-on. Race. Yeah, we're going there. Some folks are whispering that Clark's skyrocketing fame isn't just about her killer crossover or those deep threes. They're saying it's because she's white. But hold up. Is that really what's going on here? This whole debate exploded when Pat McAfee dropped that bomb on his show, calling Clark a white butch. The internet went nuts, and suddenly everyone had an opinion. But here's the thing. This isn't just about one dumb comment. It's opening up a can of worms that's been sitting there for years. Let's break it down. Clark's skills are undeniable. She's shattering records left and right, making plays that have even NBA stars doing double takes. Her talent is off the charts? No question. But then you've got people pointing out that other rookies, just as skilled, aren't getting nearly the same attention. And yeah, a lot of those rookies are black. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The WNBA has always had white superstars. Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird. These women were household names long before Clark stepped on the court. So why does Clark's popularity feel different? Why are we having this conversation now? Maybe it's because the league is more diverse than ever. Maybe it's because social media has changed how we talk about sports. Or maybe it's because Clark's rise is happening at a time when we're all more aware of racial issues in sports. Former ESPN host Jamili Hill jumped into the fray, calling out McAfee's comments. She said referring to Clark like that was beyond being too comfortable and totally unacceptable. Hill's not alone. A lot of people are saying we need to be more careful about how we talk about race and gender in sports. But here's the kicker. This debate isn't just about Clark. It's changing how we talk about women's sports as a whole. We're seeing discussions about media coverage, marketing, and representation that we've never had before. It's like Clark's popularity has ripped the Band-Aid off, and now we're dealing with all these issues we've been ignoring. So is race really a factor in Clark's popularity? Or is it just noise from people who can't handle seeing a new star rise? The truth is, it's complicated. Clark's talent is real, but so are the questions about why she's getting so much attention. One thing's for sure. This conversation isn't going away anytime soon. And whether you think race plays a part or not, you can't deny that Clark's arrival has changed the game in more ways than one. The WNBA will never be the same, and neither will the way we talk about it. Clark's changing the game, but forget about her crossovers for a second. Let's talk cold, hard cash. The WNBA's been struggling financially for years, but now they've got a superstar who could turn everything around. Here's the thing, though. It's not all smooth sailing. Some players are worried this could actually tear the league apart. How? That's where it gets interesting. Let's rewind a bit. The WNBA's always been the underdog in the sports world, fighting for every dollar. They've been losing millions every year, with the NBA having to prop them up just to keep the lights on. But then Caitlin Clark walks in, and suddenly it's like someone turned on a money faucet. We're talking about a rookie who's already changing the game's economics before she even steps on the court. TV ratings for her debut? Through the roof. Merchandise with her name on it? flying off the shelves faster than you can say three-pointer. And get this, sponsors are lining up around the block to get a piece of the Clark action. But here's where it gets complicated. All this cash flowing in because of one player, it's got some of the league veterans feeling uneasy. They're watching this rookie come in and suddenly the money's pouring in when they've been grinding for years with barely any recognition. Can you blame them for feeling a little salty? The league's in a tough spot. On one hand, they've got this golden goose in Clark, who could finally make the WNBA profitable. We're talking about potential new TV deals, bigger sponsorships, maybe even higher salaries across the board. It's the kind of financial boost the league has been dreaming about for years. But on the other hand, how do you balance that with keeping the rest of the players happy? The WNBA is trying to spread the wealth, but let's be real. Right now, Clark is the main attraction. And that's causing some serious tension in locker rooms across the league. This could be the turning point the WNBA has been waiting for. Imagine a world where women's basketball is as financially stable as the men's game, where players don't have to go overseas in the off-season just to make ends meet. Clark could be the key to unlocking all of that. Or, and this is the scary part for the league, it could tear everything apart. If the other players feel like they're being left behind, if the focus becomes too much about one star instead of the game as a whole, it could create a rift that's hard to heal. One thing's for sure, the WNBA's financial landscape is changing, and fast. Whether that change is for better or worse, well, that's the million-dollar question. And in the coming months, we're all going to find out the answer. All right, let's wrap this up. Caitlin Clark isn't just shaking up the WNBA, she's making us look at women's sports in a whole new light. It's like she kicked down the door and said, "Hey, pay attention." And boy, are we paying attention now. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this Clark effect gonna stick around, or is it just a crazy moment that'll fade away? We've seen superstars come and go before, but something feels different this time. It's like Clark's not just changing the game. She's changing the entire conversation around women's sports. One thing's for sure. The WNBA we knew before Clark, it's gone. And it's not just the league that's changing. We're all seeing women's sports differently now. Whether you're a die-hard fan or someone who never watched a game before, Clark's making you think. And that, folks, might be her biggest impact of all.